What's up guys, Nathan here, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 countries that produce the worst poker players. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so first off, before I even start with this list, I want to point out that every single country has both good and bad poker players, and just because maybe you happen to get a few bad beats from a couple players from a specific country does not mean that all players from that country play bad. Just because you got beaten by a pro from a certain country doesn't mean that everyone's a pro from that country. So I want us to take all of these results with a grain of salt. By the way, these results are going to be from you guys. I recently ran a poll across my social media asking what are the top 10 countries that produce the worst poker players, and these are the results that you guys gave me. By the way, make sure you're following me on Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff. The links for all that will be in the description below. And finally, if your own country happens to be on this list, once again, it's not a personal indictment against you personally. There's a lot of people in all these countries. Some of them play good, some of them play bad. All right, so let's jump right into it. All right, so coming in at number 10 is the good old USA. All right, so the USA is of course, the birthplace of the game of poker. It's also an enormous country by population, so of course there's going to be a lot of good and bad players coming from this country. The US is also a very high income country, so you're gonna have more people that, you know, frankly just have the ability to kind of throw around money, maybe playing some bad cards, maybe making some bad poker players. But in my experience, I think you're gonna find a lot of the top pros in the world come from this country as well. So like with a lot of countries on this list, I think it's gonna be a mixed bag. Have I taken a lot of bad beats from Americans over the years? Sure, I guess so. But I've also met a lot of really, really strong American pros, really, really good players from this country. So there you go. All right, coming in at number 9 is gonna be my own country of Canada. Now, do we produce a lot of bad poker players? I mean, I guess it's debatable. I mean, some people say I play bad. I probably do sometimes. Once again, I think Canada is a country that produces a lot of poker players, both good and bad. It's a high income country as well. So you're going to have, once again, like the United States, a lot of people that have, you know, disposable income to maybe make some rather dubious poker plays with. But again, I have met a lot of strong Canadian poker pros over the years as well. So I don't know if we should be on this list, but hey, there you are. We're at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is going to be France. First European country on this list. Once again, high population country, wealthy country. There's going to be a lot of really good players from this country. There's going to be some bad players that play terrible, if I pronounce that right. So once again, it's kind of one of those things where I think this is just going to come down to personal perspective. All right, coming in at number 7 on the list is another large Western European country, which is going to be Germany. Now, I've seen a lot of good players from Germany over the years, but there's definitely some players that maybe don't play so well as also. Once again, large country, wealthy country, disposable wealth. A lot of poker players come from this country. You know, some of my best friends are German poker pros, but, you know, definitely seen some so-so plays at the poker tables from Germans over the years and from players from all of the countries on this list. All right, so coming in at number 6 on the list is going to be Sweden. Now, this is the first of the Northern European, Nordic kind of countries on this list, and I'm really not surprised that this country made it on the list because there's been sort of this idea over the years that players from Sweden, Norway, Finland, a lot of these countries play very loose and aggressive, and that's bad according to some people. I actually think that that's the best way to play poker. So for me personally, I actually rank players from the Nordic countries as some of the best in the world, but I can understand because this style of play can definitely get under people's skin, put them on tilt, and, you know, make them think that they're playing against somebody who plays bad. But once again, I think that, you know, these are just perceptions. There happens to be a lot of high-profile pros that are from some of these Northern European countries in the past, and it doesn't necessarily mean that all players from Sweden or all players from Norway or Finland play in this specific manner. All right, so coming in at number 5 on the list is going to be Romania. Now, I'm not surprised at this one at all. I'm going to talk about, by the way, my full thoughts on this list at the end of this video. The reason I'm not surprised that Romania is on the list here is because this is one of those Eastern European countries where you see a ton of poker players online these days specifically, and that is because, you know, in a lot of these Eastern European countries and here as well, where I have been living in Southeast Asia for around 10 years now, the cost of living is simply a lot lower than a lot of Western European countries, Canada, America. You know, online poker is almost always played in American dollars, and so therefore if you live in a lower cost country like this, you can technically be a pro at very, very low stakes. You can sit on a beach out here in Southeast East Asia and, you know, often get by playing your, you know, $25 cash game or your $10 tournaments online. So it's very attractive for people that come from sort of lower cost of living countries like this. So you're going to see a lot of them online. You know, I think that there's a large familiarity bias that comes into play with lists like this, where people see a lot of players from a particular country and therefore you're just going to get more bad beats from that country. It's just math. So I'm not surprised that Romania comes on this list at number 5. All right, so coming in at number 4 is going to be another Nordic country in Norway. Once again, I'm not surprised this makes the list. I'm kind of surprised it's this high, but once again, I believe this is going to come down to that loose and aggressive play style that a lot of players from these countries are perceived to have. I don't know if that's particularly true. I think that there's a lot of strong Norwegian poker players out there, but I'm sure there's going to be some weaker ones as well. So there you go. Coming in at number 3, I'm not shocked by this one, is going to be Brazil. There's a lot of Brazilian poker players if you play online poker in particular. Once again, that's going to lead to a strong bias because people are playing against these players all the time. Personally, I have some friends who are Brazilian poker pros who are very, very strong players, but you know, it's a very large country by population. You encounter them a lot when you play online poker, so I'm not surprised it ranks this high. Once again, do Brazilians play bad? I don't know. Like I said, I've got some friends who are pros from this country. I'm sure there's some bad players also from this country, so as always, take it with a grain of salt. All right, so let's get to the final 2 here. Coming in at number 2 is going to be the Ukraine. I'm really not shocked by this one at all. Once again, these are going to be one of your most popular opponents, especially when you play low stakes online poker. For the reasons that I discussed before with Romania, which came in at number 5, there's a lot of players from this country. It's a lower cost of living country. Poker is culturally very popular in some of these Eastern European countries as well. You know, once again, you know, players from a country like the Ukraine, where the US dollar is going to go a lot further, can simply grind out their low stakes games and in many cases play semi-professionally or professionally at very low stakes. So do players from the Ukraine play bad? I don't know. You guys can let me know, by the way, in the comments below. I think there's a lot of strong Ukrainian players and probably some weaker ones as well. All right, so the number 1 worst poker players by country, and I'm not shocked by this one at all, is going to be Russia. All right, so I think with this one is just going to be the familiarity bias coming into play once again. Russians are going to be one of your most common, probably your most common opponent in low stakes online poker games. Once again, it comes down to lower cost of living, you know, US dollar stretches further, strong cultural ties to the game, and therefore a lot of Russian poker players. I think there's probably also a bit of an east-west thing going on here. Please keep in mind that most of my followers, the people who voted on this list, come from Western European countries and the Americas, and therefore there's that whole, you know, maybe we don't like them, they don't like us kind of deal. If most of my followers were from Russia, they might say that, you know, the worst players are from America or Canada or UK or something. By the way, UK didn't even make the list. I guess you guys play really good poker over there. But anyways, do I think that Russians are the worst poker players? Not really. I think that there's probably, like with every country on this list, they've got some really strong pros and they've got some weaker poker players. I personally think they're number 1 on this list because they're going to be your most common opponent in low stakes online poker games. But make sure you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the worst poker players by country. Do you agree with this list? I mean, you guys voted on the list. Do you agree with this list? What countries produce the worst poker players in your opinion? By the way, if you guys enjoy watching this video, I will make a follow-up with some results on what you guys think are the best poker players in the world. But I just want to make this fun little video. Once again, I want to say that I think the results of this are not scientific in any way. Just because your country happens to be on this list doesn't mean you're doomed to play bad poker or anything. And I really think that a lot of the results of this list come down to where my followers are from, particularly wealthy Western countries, and also what countries they are most familiar with playing against and who they've taken basically the most bad beats against, and therefore all players from that country play bad. We know that's not true, of course. There's strong players and weak players from every single country, but I hope this fun little list gave you guys something to think about, talk about, whatever. Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're also subscribed to the channel here if you want to see more poker videos, and also shove all in on that like button below if you found this video funny, helpful, or anything at all. Lastly, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet that's called Massive Profit at the Micros. It'll be the top help, link in the description below, and also leave a video that I made last week up here that I think will help you guys out some more. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. This has been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.